everybody, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming at you in this very cozy setting because today we are going to be rewatching my favorite crow scenes from the first 2 episodes of season 1 of Shadow and Bone. That was a very long sentence. Basically, the trailer for the 2nd season of Shadow and Bone came out last week and it made me so excited to rewatch season 1. And since I never made videos about me reacting to the first season of the show, I thought it could be fun for me to share all of my thoughts and all of my feelings as I rewatch my favorite scenes from the show. But then I discovered very quickly that all of my favorite scenes basically are the scenes with Kaz, Inej, and Jesper. And so I decided to just focus my attention on those. As I've said many times before, I also do enjoy the Shadow and Bone part of the show. I don't only enjoy the Crow storyline, but they are my favorite characters, so obviously I gravitate more towards those scenes. So yeah, I thought it could be fun to rewatch season 1 and discuss all of those moments with all of you. And in my video last week about the trailer for season 2, I mentioned that and a couple of you seemed interested, so yeah, I hope that if you love the crows as much as I do, you enjoy these videos. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. And of course, we have to start at the very first scene in which we see the crows, their introduction scene, and I just absolutely adore this one. So let's watch it together.
Hey, you take Zimby coin, yes?
Let me see that.
Chaos Jesper has entered the room.
The Lucky 9 casino at the block has had trouble with counterfeit coin lately. Heavy, but brittle. Zemini coin can take a bullet, but the knockoff...
No matter how many times I watch this scene, it just makes me laugh because it is so quintessentially Jesper.
What is that?
With the little fling of the gun.
Wait,
Oh,
what are you doing?
beautiful.
Get off me!
Yes! Cazzle dazzle.
No loud noises at the table, Jesper. You scare off the pigeons.
Would want that, boss.
Shouldn't you be on the door?
Yeah, right away, boss.
Ah, yes!
Early for action.
Okay, right off the bat, we need to talk about this scene because, like I said, it is so in character. I absolutely love it. Like the fact that Jesper just shoots that coin in the middle of the Crow Club is just such perfect chaotic energy for him. And then you have the cane that just slams on the table. I absolutely love that shot when we have that pan movement with the camera and we see Kaz in full for the first time. But I love that we see the cane first because it is such a big part of his character, and you can tell right away that this is a weapon. Like, it's not only a cane to help him walk, which is also important obviously because the disability representation is amazing in the books and also in the show, but also it's his weapon and it's part of this huge myth that he builds around himself. And I just love that it is the first thing that we see. And then the way that the music immediately changes and he gives Jesper that glare and it's just it's so perfect. And the cane going from one hand to the other, absolutely iconic. I also love the fact that Jesper looks worried but also slightly turned on because honestly, same.
I know who DeCapel is.
Well, he don't do nudes, so I never heard of him.
Get to it, Rotty.
Kaz throughout this entire conversation is just me when people in public transport are trying to talk to me, and I just couldn't care less.
Either it was a group effort or a ghost.
Why does this concern me?
The eyebrow raise! Oh my gosh, I'm such a simp for Freddy Carter. I'm so sorry in advance.
If you hear a whisper,
Who can hear a whisper here?
The way I know all of those lines by heart. I'm really wondering if the fact that his room is up above the Crow Club means that we won't get like the rest of the dregs and the slat, because like I need to know. Also, that little smirk. Oh yeah, I love him. Another thing that I think that the show does really well, and that is very similar to the books, is the fact that we never see Kaz's hands without his gloves. Like, we see him remove them right now, but the camera never shows them without his gloves. I think that is just so smart because it really builds this mystery around this part of him and this part of his character. And in the books, it's basically the same thing. Like, you don't really actually know what is happening under his gloves until you get to Kaz's chapter, where you basically see that like nothing is visibly wrong. And I'm really wondering, like, if you hadn't read the books before watching the show, were you curious about the fact that Kaz is always wearing gloves? If so, let me know. Also, the symbolism of this window, oh my gosh. I also just really love the fact that this scene is the perfect opposite of the scene that we have later with Jesper, who doesn't hear Inej, whereas Kaz, because he can sense her, obviously knows that she's there. And yeah, that is a parallel that I just absolutely adore.
Hello, Inej. What information do you have for me tonight?
Queen!
A lead on a job. A big one. Enough money to change lives.
Doesn't take much to change someone's life in the barrel.
$1 million, Kruger?
I love that that is what immediately captures his attention,
What's the name?
obviously.
But he's taking meetings tonight, starting at midnight.
Tell me you followed him.
Her smile! Oh my gosh, she's so proud of herself, as she should.
Kaz, I got this lead from one of the girls at the menagerie. They tell me things in case you would buy them out, like you did with me.
I didn't buy you. I'm paying off your indenture.
You know what I mean. This one girl, Kesh, she has skills, she's like me.
I only invest in the one of a kind. She isn't like you. No one is.
Okay, we need to talk about this scene. At first, when I first saw it, I literally just died because obviously I will die at any and all Kanej interaction that I get. The more that I watched it, the more that I felt that it was really out of character for them to act this way already, like so early on in their journey. I think that the line about him only investing in the one of a kind is kind of in character, because that is the kind of like backhanded compliment that Kaz would give to people. But then she isn't like you, no one is. Feels a little bit too sentimental. Like, I feel like if he would have talked about her skill set or something like that instead, maybe it would have been more in line with the cast that we know from the books. But then also, what is important to take in consideration is that in the TV show, we're not in Kaz's mind, so we can't see how much of a simp he is for Inej. So I feel like the writers had to really balance out the rudeness of Kaz with also some little hints that he might care about Inej more than he lets on. And I think that Amita Suman's acting in this scene is very good, because we see her eyes go from like, did you really just say that to me, to wait, you said that to me? I love the way that her eyes just shift just a little bit in this little second between Kaz's two lines. I just absolutely love that. And then they just like stare at each other for like a beat too long, and then they're just like, oh no, just stare away, too many feelings. Like, they were so embarrassed. Oh my god. I love them.
You're the one of us who believes in a higher power. If we're gonna survive a round trip through the cold.
Freddie Carter is just so beautiful. I'm so sorry. Just look at his freaking face. I'm fine. This is fine.
Steal something, but doesn't
This scene is also one of my favorite because of all of the banter, but the one thing that I want to rewatch right now is the way that Kaz says Pekka Rolin's name, because it is just so iconic.
Boss, just one problem. Pekka Rollins knows.
Pekka Rollins.
I love that, like, if you're watching this without having read the books, you know absolutely nothing about who the heck Pekka Rollins is, but you immediately know that there's something between these two. And that is what I love so much. Like, the way that he conveys so much with 2 words, iconic. Chef's kiss. I absolutely love it.
Days afterwards.
Mr. Pfeiffer, are you threatening me? Really? Even if I'm nice, my boss will call the stopwatch on you.
It's not me you're in danger with. It's Pekka Rollins.
My boss would call the stopwatch on him as well.
Which is why your boss is already dead.
Typical Kaz, straight to the point breaker.
And you're not in Pekka's pocket anymore if you don't owe him.
Sorry, whenever I rewatch that scene, I just cannot stop thinking about that part of the bloopers in which Freddie Carter is absolutely incapable of throwing that corn sack through the gates, and he just gets more and more frustrated every single time, and it is just the most hilarious thing ever. You know what? Let's just roll it.
You're not in Pekka's pocket anymore if you don't owe him. Owe him. Not funny anymore.
Hey, where'd you get that coin?
Hey! One of these has a hole in it.
Sakes.
They're so silly. Perfect crow chaos energy. Okay, so these were all of my favorite scenes from episode 1. Now let's get into episode 2. And episode 2 starts with the Canish fight, which I absolutely hate to see them fight, but also this scene is so flipping good. So let's watch it and suffer together.
What was that? You want to tell me?
Be more specific.
It was one thing when we had at least a week to find a way across the fold. But Sunrise, we have to say no.
No.
That's a no to the job, then?
That's a no to saying no.
We can't go.
Can't we?
I can't go.
Inej.
I have a plan.
No, you don't.
Inej,
I worked for you long enough to know when you are still figuring things out, and you don't know how to pull off this job.
I still have 6 hours, and right now you aren't helping.
Maybe you crack how to find a way across that, but that doesn't solve this problem, does it?
If I can't crack this, none of us are going anywhere.
And if you do?
Then maybe you stay here.
You dumb boy.
Maybe I won't be here when you get back.
I just love that this really shows the dynamic of their relationship, because we really see that Inej is the only one who stands up to Kaz and is being like, you're being stupid right now. Like, you do not have a plan. You're going to get all of us killed. And that is very apparent in the books as well. Like, she is literally the voice of reason when he's just like completely consumed by revenge. And I also just, oh my gosh, the tension between them in this scene and the way that Kaz like raises his voice at her but immediately regrets it, and she's having none of it, and she's just like, I'm out of here. And oh my gosh, it is so perfect.
Inej!
And I also love the fact that he
Inej.
immediately tries to go after her. The emotional turmoil, it's so good.
Here's the deal. You can do nothing. Walk away from it. I'll tell Dreesen I'm taking over for you. Then we're even.
Not even close.
Hang on. The other option is I'll cave your head in with your own cane and dump you in the harbour.
Oh god. I just realized what he says. I mean, obviously I knew what he said. Like, I'll carve out your head off with your cane and dump you in the harbor. God damn it, this is just sending me into a spiral right now. Like, I'm the way that he threatens to do to him exactly what happened to him. This is twisted.
Tell me. Have we ever made a deal before?
You and me? Nah. Otherwise you'd know better. Or you'd be dead.
We know that, like, obviously Kaz wants revenge on Picard Rollins because of what he did and how it got Geordi killed. But I think one of the things that is very interesting about Kaz as well is the fact that he wants revenge because he wants Rollins to remember him. So he wants to do something that is so terrible that Rollins will have no choice but to remember what he's done to Kaz. And so the fact that he doesn't even remember him at that point is just adding insult to injury. And I love that we see that in Kaz's whole entire behavior in that scene. Like, he's so frustrated.
Both know it.
I bet he'll figure it out. Come on, take that bet. Ola won't play with me anymore, so... Thank you.
He's obsessed with taking down Peggy Rollins.
Of course he's obsessed with the one villain in town who's taken up the stand watch to get away with literal murder. Thanks. Another one, Joe. You right, boss?
No.
The parallel between these two scenes is killing me. Like, just Kanish completely ruining Jesper's day by stealing his drink repeatedly.
Yeah, but we're off the job now, right?
Never make decisions out of fear, Jesper. Only out of spite.
A motto to live by, for
Greed
sure.
always worked for me.
Go guard the door.
I love their dynamic so much. Oh my gosh, that hair! Freddie! Honestly, his whole appearance in this scene, like slightly unhinged with his hair undone, I just... I'm fine.
Table to keep things more balanced. An incentive to keep playing. Counted for me.
Go on.
I love this scene mainly because of how Inez removes all of her knives. I just always have like such a soft spot for those kinds of scenes. They're just so cool. Like, oh, and her costume is so good. Even if it isn't very logical, the fact that they gave her that many knives in season 1, especially since she's not using them, I still love it. I feel like the dynamic between Helene and Inez is a little bit off in the show, because if you've read the books, then you know that Inez is obviously deeply traumatized by her time at the menagerie. So the fact that she just walks into the menagerie like it's no big deal, completely disarms herself and then sits down across this horrible woman is slightly strange. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to explore this more if we get like a Six of Crows spin-off maybe, which I'm hoping for. I love the fact, however, that the second Helene's eyes are not on Inez, you can tell, like especially in this shot, I don't know if they shot it so that the lady who plays Tan Helene is closer to the camera than Amita Suman, but she looks so small. And she looks like very worried, which I hadn't noticed the first time that I watched the show, but now I'm seeing it and this is very well done. And I think that Amita Suman is just so good at showing those emotions in a very subtle way, and you can definitely tell in that scene. Jasper!
Jasper.
Oh, how do you do that?
Kim Young is just so good.
You've got as many knives as I've got teeth.
You know why?
Yeah. But how's getting me to do it any different from you doing it?
I love their friendship so much.
Will you help me or not?
Like I said, of course. But
Jasper, new job.
come along. She did it again.
She did it again. I feel so much for Inez in this scene because she really is desperate for her freedom, and it just breaks my heart. And she is just so conflicted about the whole thing, like how much she values her freedom and how much she wants it, obviously, but also how much she cares about the saints and her fate and what it means to her. And you can just really feel that conflict in her, and I loved it so much. It is so well done, and it's just so sad, but also such a powerful scene.
What murder pray can forgive murder?
Ask the saints for me.
Don't!
Gaz's face is just so funny, like he really just saw his life flash before his eyes. Once again, I just really love that scene, not only because we see the conflict within Inez herself, but also because we see how it affects her dynamic with Kaz, because she isn't sure that she can trust him, and he almost proves her right, but then he makes her realize that they can actually accomplish more by sticking to the job.
Conductor, I have a job for you.
I absolutely just adore this transition between, I think his name is Dubrov, saying when our closest friend is in trouble, we do foolish things, to Kaz, like just going to Helene and giving her the Crow Club as a collateral so that he can bring Inez with him, which just really shows their devotion to one another, and I am so soft over it. I think actually that this scene is a perfect representation of how Kaz and Inej operate in the books, like how their dynamic works and how they show to each other that they care. Obviously this doesn't happen in the books, but I think that it makes so much more sense for Kaz to do this like gesture rather than telling her like no one is like you in the beginning of the first episode, because he is one of those characters whose actions speak louder than his words, and that is just like the perfect example of that. And it is just so beautiful and perfect to see their dedication to one another. He literally risks everything that he has for her. Like, do you understand how good this is? And the hesitation before shaking her hand, oh, so good. Well, that was the last scene that I had for the second episode, so that brings us to the end of this video. I hope that this was fun. I hope that you enjoyed seeing me go through all of my emotions all over again over these characters that I love. If you did enjoy this, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next part of this little series on my channel, in which I am going to watch episodes 3 and 4. But I feel like this video is going to be long enough as it is already, so I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, I will see you in my next one. Bye!